Welcome to the presentation on project idea development. In this presentation, we will go through the project development process and cover the steps that the applicants can do while waiting for the call to be open. Indeed, you can use this time to start working on your project idea. And the first step is understanding what exactly you want to do. That is what you want to improve with your project. As we talk about the transnational cooperation here, the area of improvement has to be common. It has to be shared with the other countries participating in the program. And here are a couple of hints as to where you can look for those ideas. They can be the joint issues that the participating countries are facing, or the use of joint resources, for example, the natural resources that are shared by the countries. Another possibility is also looking into the unused potential that is existing. So in any case, step number 1 is defining the problem that you intend to solve with your project. And often we tend to start with a ready-made solution in mind. However, this can be a trap, as the solution that we have in mind might not be the only one and might be not the best one. Often, these solutions do not cover all the necessary aspects, as we look at them only from our own perspective. And this is why doing the analysis jointly with the potential project partners and taking into account the opinions of the stakeholders is essential. And this is where the problem analysis comes in. It is a tool that allows us to dive deeper into the topic and explore the possibilities and the ways to solve the issues at stake. So, why is the problem analysis needed? Problem analysis is the initial stage in the project development, and your project must address a common problem or focus on overcoming a constraint that is common, so that the situation can be improved at the end of the project compared to what it is now. And it is not simply enough to state that you know what the problem is. You need to demonstrate the relevance and coherence in your project proposal. And you can do so by explaining why the present situation is problematic, which means answering the question, why is this a problem? And you do so by describing the negative situation. In the project proposal, you also need to show that you understand the causes and effects of this problem, and you need to highlight the transnational dimension of the problem. And in order to be able to act on some of the roots of the problem, you need to analyze it thoroughly. There are usually several types of causes to a problem. They can be institutional or technical or lack of information, as well as different ways to solve them. By understanding all these causes and relationships between them, you will be able to determine which routes should be tackled to address the problem most effectively. And on this slide, you see a ready-made problem tree that shows the main problem in the middle, causes are below, and effects are listed on the top. Now let us quickly go through the process that leads us to building the problem tree. So first of all, you brainstorm and identify the key problem that you want to solve. Then you check that this problem has a transnational dimension related to a priority in the program. Identify together with your partners all causes and effects that are related to this problem. You formulate all causes and effects as negative situations. And with this, you build the problem tree, showing the causes and effects from the bottom to the top. And please pay attention here that the position of the problem in the hierarchy does not indicate its importance. It only shows the links between them. And this tree here shows the main problem in the middle, and it reads, river water quality is deteriorating. And as we can imagine, there can be many different reasons for that. Pollution can come from different sources, and the reasons and causes may be very different for each of these sources. They all need to be analyzed and added to the problem tree, as is the case here. Here we have 3 types of pollutants: solid waste, household waste, and the water that is treated in the plants but does not meet the standard. By going deeper and asking why does this happen, we come to the detailed causes of this situation. And as it is the case in this example, they involve problems related to legal aspects. For example, polluters are not controlled. Financial aspects, in this case, inadequate investments and poor business planning, as well as those related to awareness, stating that no public information is available and thus people are not aware of the issue. This is how we explore the causes. Then, by asking where does it lead us, we arrive to the effects that we also formulate as negative statements. For example, high incidence of waterborne diseases or decline in the income of fishermen that is caused by the deteriorating quality of river water. Now, a hint on what not to do when doing the problem analysis. Do not define the problems as absence of solutions, as this considerably limits the scope of the project strategy at the later stage. For instance, when you say lack of equipment, this is an absent solution. You have already identified the solution, which is having the equipment. But if you open it up and instead state what the lack of equipment is causing, for example, saying that it is inability to monitor, this goes beyond having the equipment and implies other possible solutions, like, for example, the need for training or the exchange of data between the organizations. Let me repeat here once again. At the stage of the problem analysis, you first focus on describing the negative situation. Do not jump to the solutions too soon. Now that you have put together all your ideas about the current situation, it is important to look at who are those affected by this problem, be it in a positive or a negative way. We call them stakeholders, those who are interested in the matter at stake. And stakeholder analysis helps you to understand the interests and concerns of groups whose participation and support is crucial to the success of the project. These are individuals or organizations who have a stake in your project, either because they are interested in the problem that you want to solve, for example, the environmental NGOs, or they may be directly involved into your project activities. For example, the local population in a project that is addressing waste sorting. Or these can be groups of people whose interests will be affected as a result of the project implementation. In our example, these can be, for example, people who are living at the river. And identification and analysis of these groups will help you to better understand the problem that you are solving in the project. It also helps you to define your project activities, for example, communication planning or stakeholder involvement into the strategic management of the project. It helps you also to identify the groups that need to be involved into the project during its implementation, and it helps you to win the support and reduce the potential negative impact. It is important that you identify the stakeholders already in the project development stage. And by doing this analysis, you will be able to better understand their interests, the potential conflicts of interests, and also define the risks and plan potential activities to mitigate these risks. Now that you are aware of the current negative situation, now you know who are the stakeholders whom you need to involve. It is time to look forward. And in the next step, we are moving from the current negative situation into the bright future. And this is done by converting the negative situation into the positive one. So here we are looking at the objectives. This is when we convert the problem tree into the objective tree. We keep all the logical links that we have already established, but now the causes become means and effects become the end objectives. And with this, we create the desired future situation. We change the formulations of the problems to objectives. And in the problem tree, there was the problem in the middle, stating the deteriorating water quality in the river. And now we change it to the positive, to the objective, which is river water quality is improved. And we do so with all the other problems that we formulated previously. So if we had the problem formulated as population not aware of the danger of waste dumping, now it becomes population more aware of the danger of the waste dumping. And the same goes for the effects as well. For example, the one on the fishermen losing their income now becomes catch and income of fishing families is stabilized or increasing. And you repeat this until all previously formulated problems are converted into objectives. And with this process, you get closer to the structure of your future project. And now this is the moment when the strategy analysis comes in. So what exactly can you do in your project? In this step, in the next step, you define which of the objectives can be realistically achieved in the project. Most probably not everything that you listed as the part of your objective tree can be solved within the Interreg NEXT Black Sea Basin program, not to speak about only one project that you are preparing. So the objective analysis carried out in the previous step provided an overview of the positive future scenarios of the situation that you want to address with your project. And now it is time to have a closer look at these objectives and decide what realistically can be achieved in the project that you are preparing. In the objective analysis, often there are objectives that go beyond the control of the project partners or are not in their area of competence. In such cases, these objectives can be either left out of the project, or if they are really crucial for the project success, other organizations can be invited to join the project partnership in order to have the necessary capacity and competencies for the project implementation. Now, project strategy definition is the final step of the analysis phase, and its objective is to define a realistic strategy with achievable objectives for your cross-border cooperation project. Strategy analysis implies deciding on which of the objectives will be included in the project and which of the objectives will be left out. So when doing this step, be realistic when defining what you can do within one project. Start from the bottom, from the causes and from the means, and see what you can realistically do. Look at the capacity, expertise, and resources that are available in the partner organizations. The scope of your project should match them. Also, screen and look what are the projects that are already implemented in this field. Are you complementing what is already achieved? Are you building on what is already achieved? And when defining the project strategy, keep in mind also the financial limitations. Make sure that the objectives of your project are of transnational nature, that they require participation of the organizations from different countries, and also make sure that your project objectives are in line with those of the program, and that you are clearly contributing to the achievement of the program output and result indicators. Now, as already mentioned before, stakeholders are different subgroups that have to be considered for your project. And these can be the local, regional authorities. For the tourism projects, these can be, for example, the tourism agencies or businesses in the tourism sphere, or the local population living in the area of the project implementation. Don't forget that they are critical for the success of your project, and that their voices must be heard and taken into account. And it is very important that when designing your project, you do not assume that you know the interests and concerns of your stakeholders, but rather go to them and consult them to understand how they are affected by the project. And this will also allow you to see whether and how you need to involve them into the project planning and further on into the project implementation. Keep in mind that they can be crucial for the success of your project. And the whole exercise is then summed up in the final slides that you will have in the presentation. And I kindly invite you to go through these steps together with your partners and practice on your own idea. It will be a very good exercise for you all and will lead to a better clarity of what the problem that you address in your project is and what are the best ways to solve it. And just a couple of final hints. People love shortcuts. But when you jump directly to the solutions, not doing proper problem analysis, you might lose the clarity and also miss some potential good solutions. And even if it seems to you that getting to the solution tree or even the strategy of the project is obvious, still I recommend you to do the exercise, as later on it will pay off, since you will have a better logical linkages within the project. And in addition, you will cover different aspects, for example, the stakeholder analysis, which might bring in some additional ideas that were not obvious for you at the first glance. And also, work that you will do in the analysis helps a lot with the logical structure of the project afterwards, and it will make it easier for you to come up with the project logic and with the meaningful measurement of the project achievements. This is what I wanted to tell you about the project development. Good luck with the development of your own project ideas.